So, Year of the Wood Snake, YiSi 2025. Um, so as we talked about already in part one, Yi is liver in metal, but it's also yin wood. It's a passive element. It's the second stem, which means that active fire. In the Wu Yun, or the five movements, it's dryness. In what's called the host and guest sequence, it's the favorable destroyer. We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, and then the branch C is spleen in fire. Its ruling Lu Qi is Jui Yin, and secondary Lu Qi is Xiao Yang. So Yi is described, uh, or the pictograph as a winding or crooked growing plan. A plan's good, but it should be plant. Um, but plans are right for wood. But basically meaning that the more crooked you could say a branch is, the more strength it's got um, of of coping with excessive external influences. Um, so yin wood is flexibility with strength and compassion. So this is from Master Zhongshan Wu and Corinne Taylor's book called Tiangan De Zi, or De Zi, Heavenly Stems and Earthly Branches, which is it's a lovely book. Again, loads of information crammed into it. But here he puts the association to the wind trigram, um, which nature is gentle and penetrating step by step. So for Iron and Joe, if you look up in your essential charts, explore the wind trigram, you'll get a little bit more from that. But here it describes the front left of the body, or the house. So you person that's balanced has strong life energy and good health. If it's in excess of the tendency for neck stiffness, tight ligaments, or even hepatitis. If it's deficient, decreased immune function, arthritis, depression, and so on. You person tends to be flexible, gentle, compassionate, kind, and has strength. And whereas in imbalance tends to be depressed, stiff, with temper and rage. So common kind of wood qualities that is showing there. If we look at some of what Yarn says about it, so Yi relates to the east and spring, expresses the growing spring season with the incredible variety of green colours that shape the fullness and beauty of the promise of new life. It continues the creative, vitalising principle of Jia, the first stem, giving birth to the new strength, growth and flexibility that characterise spring. A healthy Yi provides people with strong, rapid, flexible Qi to benefit growth at all levels of existence. Yi represents the power of gathering and delivering unconscious movements of Wei Qi and Shui whenever and wherever they are needed. I should say, Joe, that I did mute you before, so better unmute you now. So again, these are all words that come straight out of Yarn's book. They're there for contemplation and exploration. So the more we go into it, the more we become. So we can see here that flexibility is a major aspect of the yin wood stem. The integration or the interaction, sorry, of the what is felt inside and what is perceived outside. So the quality of experience brought in through the senses. So Yi in the body is expressed in smooth and firm movements of the hands and fingers. So we've got Shun Wind up here, but also the Gun Mountain is very much connected to hands and fingers, which is the trigram that associates to the northeast or the southeast if we're in the southern hemisphere. which again is where the liver Chou branch is situated. A smoothly working immune system through strong Shui, Yin Yi, and Wei Qi, flexible muscles and tendons, and ability to go with the flow and provide the body with necessary improvements. Uncontrolled rapid growth, including the development of diseases that thereby become uncontrollable, such as in cancer, can be caused by an overly vital Yi, where vitality and adaptation have become an end to themselves. This imbalance is often accompanied by outbursts of anger that serve to release tension. Quite an interesting statement, really, but where it's got caused by an overly vital Yi, where vitality and adaptation have become an end to themselves. So, in other words, there's an underlying desire where vitality and adaptability are essential. So it's a driven desire, which is emanating from a deficient water, basically, rather than the natural ebb and flow of what comes and what goes. And as we can see, that the anger helps to release that tension, which is showing itself to be there. The great movement, metal and yin wood are in a co-cycle relationship. The great metal archetype, the white tiger, and the emanation Li. The Li is in the west. Li holds the symbols of beneficial gathering, centripetal movements, harvesting, nourishing, prevention, and protection from the cold of winter. These properties are accompanied by a clear understanding of the relationships between the internal and external world and the ability to exclude what is disagreeable and harmful. The great movement metal provides the proper chi and direction for self-knowledge and inner cultivation. So I guess it's the interesting dynamic that it's Yi, liver in metal, great movement, but it's also wood elemental base. So they are opposites, east and west, in the four directions. The Hun and the Po. So we have Yang energy and movement, aspiration in the Hun, and the Yin energy in the Po, working together with this self-knowledge and inner cultivation to I guess well, I guess in some ways it's like the athlete that's 15 and the athlete that's 35. You know, one's completely in the East and the other one's had a little bit of West brought into their experience and therefore can modify their training cycle and how they interact in their sport. Not to say that all 15-year-olds are like that, but just as a generalization. So the combination of wood, yuan, the east, and metal, li, the west, spans the conscious horizontal field, the space between the east and the west, between sunrise and sunset, when people are awake and active. And it spans the unconscious horizontal field between west and east, between sunset and sunrise, when people sleep and purify their minds and bodies. Outward presence requires prudence and self-knowledge. Purification requires internal focus in addition to the power of discernment, cleansing, refinement, and so on. So again, alluding to that wood-metal combination within the stem Yi. And then he goes on to say that people born with Yi liver in metal feel the need to interpret and understand experiences and explore their learning to develop goals, bless you, for future growth. Feel the need to interpret and understand experiences and explore their learning to develop goals for future growth. They might have a hard time expressing emotions. They want to process emotions themselves first, but they appreciate clear interpretations by others on issues they face. it supports them to collect data to process so that life can become more manageable. So I'm born in the UK in 1960, so my stem is gung, large intestine in metal. I have been in Australia more than 30 years, which is suggested that if you move to a different continent, in about 30 years, you transform to what that continent stem and branch is. So I'm actually going back to the G spleen and the higher Sanji hours and influence in my life. But as a metal born under a metal influence, I can particularly appreciate the accumulation of data to try and understand things. Because I always, if I'm studying something, I need to put it in a chart, and then put my chart up on the wall, and I can just keep referring to it over and over again. So the actual
I
Yi,
think that's,
yep,
sorry, go
you
on.
you can
Yeah, I was just
relate.
going to say, this is me. Oh,
Mm,
absolutely.
yeah,
And to what you've just said, I've got charts all over the place.
I'm sure many have, but that's because this is your stem, isn't it? The Yi
Yeah, yeah,
or the one you're born under.
yeah. This is me.
Yeah, cool. And this is the aspect that I need to build up and support to help uh, the gung metal be as active and potential as it can be.
Mm.
So anxiety, especially among those who feel possessed by the influences of others that leave them little power over their own lives. Um, that must have come from somewhere else, but that's
Well, I can relate to that as well. That's something that I've been thinking about recently,
right.
um, in quiet times. Got to the age that I am now, and I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah, okay.
Better
So
late than never.
so is that suggesting that you feel pressured, I guess, by outside,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
outside people and
And
influences?
recognizing that that's been the yeah, recognizing that's always been the case, or a lot of the time it's been the case.
Yeah,
And often I've been in conflict with myself because I've been influenced, but real, in myself, I felt that something was not right, or it was the wrong thing for me to say or do or whatever. But I've been influenced by something or somebody else. So yeah, so I've been thinking about you know, all those, not all of them because I can't remember it, but lots of things that have happened through my
yeah,
life, and thought, why did I allow that to happen? Why did I allow them to influence me? Why wasn't I stronger to stand in my own truth?
yeah, okay. So I guess that's when someone pressures you, you just say, oh, I've got to lie down. Sorry. I'll be back to you in a day or two.
Yeah,
I'm going to bed.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I guess that's the passive quality of the stem, isn't it, as well? That openness and receptivity that comes with the yin, and how that might
Mm,
manifest in the psyche as um yeah, being pressured by that outside circumstance.
yeah. But equally, it's all about the balance, isn't it? Because if you're the other way, and you don't allow yourself to be influenced at all, and you're, if you like, you're stubborn,
Yeah,
then that can be just as bad, can't it? So it's tricky one, isn't it?
yeah. I guess it seems,
But it's recognizing it.
and it seems to be saying
Sorry,
here
go
that,
on.
that he also says they appreciate clear interpretations by others. So that's
Yes.
there's not a block. No, I don't want to hear that. Um,
No,
it-
no.
but there is a characteristic that he seems to be saying here that if you're forced into emotional expression or something when you're not comfortable, that might be a sign to say, well, okay, well that's a little bit of well, give me time, give me a moment, to
Yes,
to
yeah,
process that. Um,
yeah. Or a different way of putting something, or doing something that makes it clearer.
yeah,
You know, my mum used to say to me, if somebody said, put your finger, if somebody said to you, um, would you put your finger in the fire? Would you? And it's that type of thing. So if somebody says, put your finger in the fire, it's like, well, why would I want to put my finger in the fire?
Yeah,
And, you know, yeah.
yeah, gotcha. Good, good. Can I go on?
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Go on, I'll mute myself.
All right. So when the combination of the great movement metal and the heavenly stem yi is strong, people born with it come across as very present and inspirational, but their demand for attention may absorb the energy of those around them. Hmm. Complaints appear when this combination is too weak. Weak metal results in too much fluid, liver blood stagnation, fluid retention leading to digestive problems, edema, nausea, vomiting, back pain and menstrual cramps, shortness of breath and bladder problems. Imbalanced wood, headaches, migraines, muscle and ligament injuries, sexual dysfunction, gallbladder and liver disease, insomnia and so on. Um, so why do you think that a weak metal results in too much fluid?
Is it like as if the metal's melting, or is it well, metal uh, influencing water?
Okay, so not enough strength in metal to
So
nourish water.
it's not controlling water.
Well, it's got a nourishing cycle, isn't it, with water, metal? Um,
Yeah. But if it's weak, it's not nourishing, is it?
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah. No, forget that then.
no.
Yeah,
That's
it's
that's
not
all right. Well,
nourishing.
that's but that's a relationship, isn't it? Metal to water for sure. Um,
Mm,
I guess also with what we looked at so far, the weak metal means active fire, so potentiality.
yeah,
But then you would think that's more leads to dryness, wouldn't you?
yes, yeah.
So is it perhaps the fact that metal
But
or the lung in particular directs fluid?
trying to work back through. Come on, Joe.
Right, I've just had trouble unmuting myself. Well, I would have thought with respiration, fluid is really essential. And if you don't have strong respiration, then you get an accumulation of fluid, would be my understanding.
Okay. So it's not vaporized.
Vapor,
Yeah.
vapor is very important, isn't it,
Yeah.
in respiration?
Yeah,
So if you don't have a full respiration, then you could definitely get an accumulation of fluid.
yeah. I think it's the influence on the water, the metal water.
Okay. So that would also go there
But
then,
then the
Joe.
nausea and vomiting is more spleen, isn't it? Spleen.
You often see people with chronic respiratory problems looking really puffy and
Yes, yeah, yeah,
that fluidy,
Yeah.
which I just think, they're not fully respiring.
Yeah. Yeah. The swollen face is characteristic of the lung, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a massive storm here. Sorry. I just about jumped out of my chair.
Really?
really. Oh my God.
Did you hear that thunder?
I didn't know.
It was a pretty,
No.
oh, didn't you? It was a
No.
pretty serious crack. Yeah, there's a massive storm over the top of me.
Well,
God,
what a
I
night.
should share a photo with.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I mean, back pain is associated with kidney and bladder problems. You're looking at that water element again.
Well, it can also be earth, can't it? The back pain. Just following on from edema, nausea, vomiting, back pain. But he's also suggesting liver blood stagnation. Um,
Yes,
so
yeah.
we're talking, looking at lower GL issues here too. Um, uh,
So why would weak metal? Where would the liver blood stagnation? Ah,
yeah, it's quite
the metal's
specific.
not stimulating wood. It is, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it's,
Anybody else throw any light on this?
so maybe we move on then, but just as a, to go with what you guys have said, so possibly not supporting water, um, fluids building up through poor respiration, which again then leads to digestive issues, um, lower GL, difficulty connecting to upper GL. Um,
Okay, so we've just had a message. Oh, it's gone.
wood,
Sorry,
in,
was that Catherine?
wood insulting metal.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. I was just thinking about the controlling and um the controlling aspects
yeah, yeah,
of the five elements and wondering if there is, because I know in sort of clinical practice, liver can insult the stomach spleen, but I think it can go upwards to insult the metal as well.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
But I don't know if that might not be what you were saying, because you were talking about uh digestive stuff, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got underneath imbalanced wood, so that's there for a
Okay,
reason too. Yeah,
so if going by what you're saying then, if wood is insulting metal, it can also be insulting earth.
Stomach
So
spleen.
then you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the nausea,
The
vomiting.
digestive stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it could be that. So
I
maybe
suppose the trigram looks like that, doesn't it?
yes,
Overarching
yeah,
liver or wood
yeah,
over yin metal or something.
yeah,
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it makes you look at all these things that you've seen for a long time. Like I'm more familiar with the I Ching and, the trigrams, but seeing it in this sort of clinical way as well, it'd be really interesting to open up practice like this.
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
It makes you think beyond what you know or what you
Yes,
think you know.
what you've been taught so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
right.
yeah. Whereabouts are you, Catherine?
I'm just in Perthshire in Scotland.
Oh, right, okay.
Where are you, Irene?
In Wales.
Oh, right,
Down
nice.
in Pembrokeshire.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Yes, I
Yeah.
think Jodie's there as well. Did
Jodie
you
is,
invite
yes,
Jodie?
yes,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, really, really good to meet you. And
Yes,
yeah,
and
this
you.
is really interesting the way to meet as well,
It is,
isn't
yes. At
it?
least we're on
Yeah.
we're on the same time scale anyway, so we
Yes,
can
it's true, isn't
keep in
it?
touch.
Yeah. Yes, good.
All right. Lovely picture,
Right.
Joe, by the
Karen,
way.
where are you, Karen?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that was a couple of hours ago, and now it's right on top of me and
Right.
lightning and
Oh,
thunder.
wow. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Is that a tornado?
It looks like it. It feels like it at the moment. I'm ready to duck under the table.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Oh,
No,
wild.
wow.
It's about 30 degrees at the same time.
Wow.
yeah, stinker.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a stink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Is that
I just
metal
had
insulting Earth there? I don't know, yeah, or something. Oh,
there's a bit of metal
oh,
around at the moment. The lightning's
yeah.
crazy. Mm.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, take care, will you? Just Do you
Yeah,
have
if you
do you have
lose
to go
you
somewhere
lose
or
me, if
hide
you lose,
somewhere?
no, I'm fine. No. Just if you lose me, I've just lost power or something.
You're just
Okay.
struck by lightning, hopefully not.
Don't-
I'm glad I got the mast down, put it that way.
Yeah,
Sailing,
yeah,
yeah, everyone
gotcha.
rushed in, put their mast down, and yeah, because they're a beacon, of course, for lightning. They
Yeah,
have to
okay.
strike masts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone got in safely
Well, that's good.
before it really kicked in.
Mm.
All right, so just one other
Some of
aspect to look at in this yearly thing with the Yi stem, sorry. We've got this bit down here called the Wu Yun guess movements. So these are these lots of nice little colours here. And this chart's from that Johan uses for the first year of training in stems and branches. And I've only recently come to find out what these are. So they're called the five movements host and guest sequence. They're only briefly mentioned in the Neijing from what I could find out. And I've had discussions with other people who are quite interested why J.D. Van Buren and Johan Devine in particular have gone a lot into developing the qualities of these movements. But basically what it does, we get a host sequence. Maybe I've got a better slide. Yep. So we've got a host sequence here, which gives the dates. These are fixed each year. And then according to whatever stem and great movements governing the year, they change according to the great movement. So in the year, we can see that we start up here in metal. So metal has a co-relationship with wood. And then we get the change here, 3rd of April, 3rd of April. So that's water. So water has a co-relationship with fire. So the whole of this year, the host and guest sequence is a husband-wife or a co-relationship, which Johan calls the favourable destroyer. And a little bit about that. He has got a chapter on this in his book. But it says here that in the climate damages the cosmic influences, leaving the seasons out of balance. In the psyche of people tends to be stubborn. That's what you were talking about, Irene, and always relates things to earthly conditions. Often have tension in their lives, like to focus on cosmic influences, religion, philosophy, the inner self, etc. Are used to conflict in themselves. It may seem calm on the outside, but there's a lot going on underneath. Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know that
paddling
one.
like buggery underneath.
People say to me, "Oh, you're always calm," and I say, "You got to be joking, man." So,
Mm.
yeah, a lot going on underneath for sure. So this is for the metal years. They're all the metal years that have this husband-wife relationship. Um, okay. So metal insufficient years. So when the energy situates in heaven, it is the energy that controls the weather. When the energy situates on earth, it is the 6 steps, so the 6 chi, the Luchi, that affect the earth. When the energy communicates with man, it is taking charge of the variations of human affairs, which I'm assuming means that it just we do what we do in the best way we can. They also say excess energy arrives prior to the season, insufficient energy arrives behind the season. So excess is the yang stems, insufficient the yin stems. And the abnormal condition confuses yin and yang and causes the regular and irregular changes of the weather. And the human body is also changing along with it. So we are in an insufficient metal year, which means Fire and wood are likely to be vibrant with dryness and scorching heat. Mars is bright in the sky and all things become flourishing. In man, heaviness and tension of the shoulders and upper back, nasal congestion, sneezing, blood in the stools, continuous acute diarrhea. Harvest energy of autumn comes later. Venus is dark. White crops don't mature. So there's the relationship here to an insufficient metal. So the harvest is late. Its planetary influence in the sky is dark and not seen, or not seen. And even the white crops are ones that don't mature properly. Fire subjugates metal so that water, the son of metal, retaliates. Cold rains come suddenly with hail and snow, and all things are injured. So we're going to look at that in the next two slides, but this again is a pathological elemental defense system. Yin Qi becomes so strong that Yang is pushed upwards, headache, pain in the brain head radiating to the neck, and fever. Mercury becomes bright. So here we can see Mercury again is related to water. Red color crops do not mature in that situation. And in man, ulcers, mouth sores, chest pain, and heartache may be the result.
Oh.
So when we look at passive and active stems, there's a treatment ideal. Johan says that he's noticed in the passive stems, it's much better to calm the active stem first before you actually build the passive one. So in this situation, we've got passive metal here, active fire. But we can also see that this active fire and passive metal relationship is the same for the Wu stem, the stomach in fire. But this is a different aspect where first of all you build the metal and then you calm the fire. So it's same configuration, but the ruler's either active or passive. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep. There's also what's called subdue revenge. So when the element...
Sorry, Paul,
Yeah.
Can you mind me interrupting?
No.
So we know that it's a passive metal year. How do we know it's active fire?
Because all of
Is
the
it
passive
looking at the
passive stems or the passive great
I see.
movements
Yep.
have an active husband.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha. I can
yeah.
see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if the wife's passive, then the husband's active.
Gotcha.
And then if it's an active stem, then the wife's passive. So it's the same,
Yes.
but one's, it's a different, with the active stuff, things are likely to come early. I haven't worked out how they come early yet. I did read it was quite an elaborate
So that's an active branch. Is that correct? It's an active branch. So there's a passive stem
Yeah.
and an active branch. So is that how it
No,
goes
no,
this
no,
year?
no. The stems, the active or passive stems will always match with a yin or a yang branch. So if you've got a passive stem, it's going to align to a yin branch. Let's go back to the chart.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, don't be silly. Oh, have I missed it? Yeah, this one. So we can see that for the stem, well, let's stay with the year stem, Yi. So you can see there's a gap,
Yes.
then there's a date, gap, date, gap, date, gap, date, all the way through.
Yeah.
So the gap is
Yeah.
because it's a yang stem, a yang branch. So it will only bind with a yin branch. Yeah. Because this is the first branch. second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, etc., down to 12. So the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, the 11 are all going to be yang. Mm.
So why aren't we looking at I thought the wood, see if I look to the left of that chart, and that's the branch, it's wood, yeah?
Well, this is called
Yeah.
corrective chi, and I'm not too sure about that yet.
Oh, okay. So I'm not looking at that. I'm going over to the other side of the chart.
Yeah, so the wood component of the wood snake is the element of the stem. Excuse me. So
Yep.
we have passive metal and
Yes.
yin fire, because
Okay.
the heart's the yang fire.
Okay.
So again, if you just remember the numbers the odd numbers are always yang, and the even numbers are the yin. The yang stems
Yeah.
connect with yang branches, and yin stems with yin branches. So what was the actual question
Yeah.
you asked? I can't remember.
Yeah. No, I think I'm following you now. I just wasn't
Yep.
sure where that connection came. Now I can see it looking at this chart. Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, good. So with the passive stem then, so when it's passive, in this instance metal, the son of the passive element tries to subdue and revenge on the controlling active aspect. I forget what this is in I think it's in chapter 69. I think it is, but it talks about the revenge cycle as pathological response. So instead of basically metal being flexible or adaptive and strong enough on its own, water steps in and says, "Well, look, you're showing up a bit of weakness, mate. I'm going to control the element that's enforcing itself on you." Whereas this is a natural cycle. It's a natural for that year to be like that. But for water to come in and try and subdue is creates pathology. So maybe that situation we look at Earth, because Earth can control water, Earth can supplement and support metal, Earth can drain fire. So there's depends on the configuration, I guess, of the whole birth chart, but that's a way of looking at it. And when we look at the branch in a minute, we'll find out that as the liver moves into the lung meridian, so 1 to 5 a.m. or January, February in the Northern Hemisphere, or July, August for us, that quality of Jue Yin liver to close the entire day or close the entire year, and at the same time give birth to the Yang, is an earth quality. And that's the same when we're born. Any disturbance around birth, on the birthing process, can mess with that earth bonding quality that's the basis of all life from then on in. The insufficient metal is the reduction of the harvest energy. Wood will blaze when the fire energy combines with the earth energy, and all plants flourish. Insufficient metal motion is ascending. Its function is impetuousness. Its variations: rapid breathing, cough, aphonia, oppression of chest, sneezing, coughing, runny nose, and hemorrhage. That's metal assimilated with fire. Yang Ming supports insufficient metal. Jue Yin strengthens wood, giving fire more strength. So this is a Jue Yin year. If fire is exceedingly prosperous, then the water will retaliate. Ice, snow, frost, and hail. Winter arrives early, and the weather will be very cold. So it's talking about the elemental relationships. But let's have a look at the branch. So spleen in fire. It's the fourth month. Because the first month's the beginning of spring, the new year. So then we go large, lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen. So we get to the fourth month. Again, 4 and 6 are yin numbers, so it's a yin. It's the birth branch of summer. If you remember, we have three branches for each season. So there's a birth branch, an exuberant branch, and then a storage branch. I think we look at that in a minute. But basically, storage branches are earth branches. So they help one chi change and transform into another chi. So winter chi is different than spring chi, summer chi, autumn chi. We're looking at the ruling influence of the Lu Qi and the secondary Lu Qi, which we can see on the chart here. So spleen in fire and also Sanjiao in water, triple heater in water. They share the same Lu Qi. So when you got the first one that's dominating or controlling heaven, that's always situated at the top of this circle. So last year was Tai Yang cold, so Tai Yang would be sitting up here. And in a moment we're going to look at the sequence of these 6 chi, but there's always a sequence for the host and there's a different sequence for the guest. And so host chis are ones that remain constant throughout the year. And then the guest chi depends on the stem and branch. Sorry. I got distracted by Facebook. Let's just keep going because there's quite a bit with this. So Yin's controlling heaven over here. Xiaoyang's affecting earth. The sequence here is Xiaoyang, Yangming, Taiyang, which the next slide will say why it's that sequence. Yin, Xiaoyin, Taiyin, back to Xiaoyang. And this is the guest sequence. So the reason it's done in that form, it's got here that the first yin is Yin. So when the yin is at its least, you could say, then the next aspect of the yin is the Xiaoyin, when the yin is less. And when the yin is more, it's Taiyin. So Yin, Xiaoyin, Taiyin. And then it goes to Xiaoyang. So the least of the yang, Yang Ming, to Taiyang, the most of the yang. So there's this circuit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which we can see here as the guest sequence. So Yin, Xiaoyin, Taiyin, Xiaoyang, Yangming, Taiyang. The host sequence is similar. It begins with Yin, Xiaoyin, but then Xiaoyang is posed in here. Taiyin, late summer, Yangming, autumn, Taiyang, winter. So we've got basically spring, summer, late summer, autumn, and winter. So for 2024, because Tai Yang was ruling heaven and Tai Yin was affecting earth, then the sequence started with Xiao Yang. I'll give you a graphic of that in a sec. And for 2025, we begin with Yang Min, yeah, which is where we're at now, basically. So if you look at that, it looks a bit, oh my God, death by PowerPoint. But here we got, so this is the Dway in the upper part. So this is for this year. And added to it is the host sequences. So the host is always there, and then the guest arrives and exerts its influence on the host. And I did hear recently that other people view it that the host exerts its influence on the guest, which is just possible as well. But anyway, so in this situation here, we've got a guest Yang Ming starting on the 20th of January and going through to the 20th of March. That's exerting its influence on the host Jui Yin. So you would think that metal influence on wood would have some level of restraint associated to the growth and expansion of the spring energy. And potentially, because it's dryness, it'd be interesting to see. I know you've had quite a wet year in the Northern Hemisphere, but it would be interesting to see how this dryness impacts on the early spring weather and whether there is sufficient heat in the year, being that fire is going to dominate metal, if there's sufficient heat in the year to actually create sufficient evaporation for rain. Which is part of the process that I'm in now. I'm starting to record the influences on a daily basis, making notes. What's the weather pattern? What are the influences? So I can actually go back and look. Oh yeah, such and such a date that happened, that occurred, and see if I can make some sense out of all this information. And if we
Good plan, that, Paul.
Yeah, well, it's. I often want to go back, Irene, and think, yeah, what happened then? I mean, because when we talk about these cycles, well, maybe that's another subject. But even the stems, when you look at the stems, first stems, Gia, that's a balance that's occurring from 5 years ago. So last year was Gia, first stem, Chen branch, so the wood dragon. That's an active balancer for what occurred in 2019 when the spleen stem was in dominance. So over a 5-year cycles, there's balance brought into play. And if you think about 2019, certainly the end of it was the origin of the COVID debacle. So we're kind of getting to the other,
Yes.
the deeper aspects of that, or the fruit of that, what that created in 2024. On a global scale, but also on an individual scale, what were you doing in 2019? How's that developed into this active stage, 2024? And just to give you a little bit of for the Southern Hemisphere, then we're still in the 2024 Chen year. So at 22nd of January, moved into the host tie-in period. The guest is Jui Yin for this year because Tai-Ying's at the top, Tai-Yin's at the bottom. So we've got a Jui Yin influence over Earth occurring from 22nd to the 24th of March. So it will be natural for wood to be exerting its influence over Earth, both on a climatic and human psychological level as well. What that means, is all right in theory, but you want to see that in your clients, what's coming up, what's turning up in my clients. So when the liverwood of Jui Yin is controlling heaven, the wind will descend on the earth and the spleen energy will be restricted. The earth energy will assimilate with the wood energy and play the role of wood. So this, I'm not too sure about this, but it's Jeffrey Ewan talks about if the Wei Qi is deficient, the Ying Qi will turn into Wei Qi. So it will go to the surface to provide extra strength for the Wei Qi, but create deficiency in the Yin Qi. So this is a similar kind of energy that he's talking about. Or I think so anyway. And the spleen energy will be restricted. The earth energy will assimilate with the wood energy and play the role of wood. So how that does it say how about that is when the earth energy is invaded by wood, the earth will turn to restrict the water. The water will be injured and the functions of earth will be altered as well. Um, so
So it's
what's
basically saying anything goes.
uh,
You've got everything influencing everything.
no, it's not everything, is it?
Well, when I say everything, it's not just that, you know, it's what we were saying before, is that, you've got the cycles aren't just what am I trying to say here? Yeah. Never mind, I'll come back to that.
Yeah, well, this year's
I'll think about
about,
how I want to say it.
yeah, okay, cool. I accept that. So that Yin is the controller of this year, so it will descend on Earth. But what I'm curious about is how the Earth energy will play the role of wood. What is that? What is the role of wood? So that's worth contemplating on its own. Um, and if the Earth energy does play that of wood, uh, how does that restrict water? So in man, the disease is a heaviness of the body. So we can see that the spleen, uh, muscular atrophy, reduction of taking in food, flat taste in mouth. So that's all damage to spleen. Um, and as the wind energy is moving in the sky, clouds, grasses, and woods will be swaying, and man will suffer dizziness and tinnitus. Um, anyway, it's something to think about. If you've got insights, chuck them in. But um,
Well, when we talk about heaven
yeah,
here,
yeah.
uh, are we talking about earth or, some of the other stuff I study, they refer to heaven as ether. Like, what is heaven in this context? Because we don't talk about heaven that often.
Yeah, okay. Um, it's a good question.
I think it's just, isn't it just considered like you've got heaven, earth, and man in the middle.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
yeah, but this is
it's
the
not, I don't think heaven is like we would imagine, like we say we go up to heaven. I think it's just a concept of the energy from above, from that direction.
well,
Yeah.
it's more. I think it's that
And
you've
that
got.
comes so
Yeah, sorry, go on.
and that comes down and to meet in the middle with the heavenly earth rising.
Well, there's certainly that relationship is ever present. Yeah, I think what it means with this the five movements and the six chi. So the five movements are heaven. So they're your damp, dryness,
Okay.
cold. What's it? The sequence: cold, wind, and fire, or heat. And they're influenced by the controlling six chi of the month. So it's a relationship between the great movement and the six chi that create the weather differences. So that
What are the five movements again?
that's your five great movements.
Yeah, could you just tell me what they were again? Damp, and what were the other
Yeah,
four?
remember the five great movements are earth, starts with earth, metal,
Yeah.
water, wood, fire. So it still goes in a nourishing cycle, but begins with earth. So earth is wetness or damp, metal is dryness, water's cold, wood is wind, fire is heat. And they call it,
Okay.
there's six actually movements as well. That's summer heat included in that as well. But they're the um the qualities that produce the five elements, you could say, or some people say the five elements produce those qualities. But so this year is ruled by dry.
Right, okay.
2025 is ruled by
Mm-hmm.
dryness, and then
Mm-hmm.
that dryness is controlled by Jui Yin. So the relationship between
Mm-hmm.
Jui Yin and dryness is the dynamic of the interaction of 2025, along with the deep chi fire of the spleen branch and the deep chi earth of the liver branch, because it's liver in metal. So
Mm-hmm.
heaven is, but yeah, those five forces basically: earth, metal, damp, dryness, wind, heat, and cold.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the affecting earth. This is the secondary Lu Chi then. So as Juayin is controlling heaven, the weather, the Prime Minister fire Xiao Yang will affect the earth energy. The fire energy will be prevailing and the earth will have scorching heat like summer. So theoretically, the latter half of the year is likely to be hot according to this. Diarrhea with bloody stool. Uh, so fire affecting earth. By this time, the hibernants can often be seen outside. The flowing water is not frozen and the attacks of disease is very rapid.
Mm.
But until you start, until you got the weather patterns down in front of you, written down, blah, 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 is this is what's happening. This is what should happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Not much to look forward to, is it?
What's wrong with scorching heat and bloody diarrhea? Yeah. Um, or maybe that's my pessimistic view of making slides. So when Jiayin is controlling the heaven energy and Xiaoyang is affecting the earth energy, if insufficient energy of metal motion is encountered, which is this year, the overcoming energy of heat and the retaliating energy of coldness will occur simultaneously. As the energy of metal is insufficient and wood wind of Jiayin is controlling the heaven energy, the metal can no more control the wood and wood plays its role. There we have that again. So hopefully from the people that this video goes out to, if they watch it, it would be good to get some feedback for what people feel about what happens when wood plays the role of metal or earth plays the role of wood.
Mm.
Host and guest cycle. Still on this one, dryness, wind, and the hot fire energies are combating. In man, diseases of heat evil are apt to appear in the lower part of the body, wind evil in the upper part, and diseases of the contention of wind and dryness are apt to appear in the middle part of the body. So then in what chapter is it? I think it's chapter 71. It describes each stage now as we go through with the host and guest sequence. So the initial energy is the Yang Ming, like I said, started on 20th of January for the Northern Hemisphere, which equates to around 20th of July, 23rd of July in the Southern Hemisphere. Um, yeah, it's chapter 71. Yeah. Okay. So in the stage of the initial energy, the dryness of Yang Ming is playing its role. The cold energy is urgent. The energies of chilliness and restraint have just arrived, and people will often contract the disease of cold under the right hypochondrium.
Oh, great.
What? Well,
That that I'm just thinking what that could result in. Mind you, we're just going through that here now, aren't we, in the Northern Hemisphere, really?
you are January to March.
Yeah, everybody going down with rampant respiratory, etc.,
Okay.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I wonder what cold under the right hypochondrium looks like. I can't quite picture that.
Well, we got cold energy is urgent, so Yang Ming is playing its role, which is the west energy. So that's the cool energy descending, um, opposite in a lot of ways to wood, isn't it? Which is warm and ascending. So it sounds like it's stifling the chi in the area of the liver. And of course, all manifestations, I guess, can come from that.
Mm.
But I think that's what they're
Well, under
pointing.
the right
Well,
hypochondrium, you sort of
well, it, Catherine, I
look
was
like,
just thinking that could that be the blood stagnation from earlier on due to cold?
Yeah, possible.
yeah, it sounds a bit like stagnant liver chi, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But due to the cold energy, because cold's
yeah.
winter. It's in winter. It's still great cold this time period, but it's moving into
Well, I can
spring.
tell you, it's very cold here at the moment.
Yeah, okay. All right. So then the second stage, um, the cold water energy of Tai Yang is playing its role. And then we've gone Xiao Yang or Yang Ming we start with, then it goes to Tai Yang, then to Jui Yin. Um, the cold water energy is playing its role, is retaining, the snow is flying and the water in the river freezes. The energies of chilliness and restraint are playing their roles. The falling of the cold frost causes the tips of grasses to become withered and the cold rain falls frequently. As the monarch fire of Shaoyin is dominating the season, that's the host chi, the yang energy will be dispersing again and people will contract the disease of retention of heat evil in the middle warmer.
Oh, great.
So is that saying that we get the retention of heat evil because the cold of Tai Yang is restricting through chilliness and restraint? And
Let me
this
read that again. As the monarch says, dominating the season, the yang energy will be dispersing again.
people will contract the disease of
Yeah.
retention of heat evil. So if we just go back to that sequence, where did we? No, no, that's not the one. I want the one with the host. Um, yeah, this one. So we can see at the host, so that Tai Yang's winter, Jui Yin's spring wood, moving into the fire of summer, uh, late summer Tai Yin, autumn Yang Ming, back to winter. So these are the natural hosts. So I guess if the host Xiao Yin energetic is all that fire is, that expansion and growth outwards, and then we have a water component suppressing that. It seems to be saying that the the heat evil is trapped inside as a result of the energetics between the guest and the host. So the third energy, wind energy of Year Yin is playing its role. The wind blows frequently. People contract diseases of tears in the eyes, tinnitus, and dizziness. The fourth stage, so this is again 20th of May to 23rd of July. So it's building into your summer. So windy by the sounds of it. And then going into late summer, autumn. Monarch fire of Shaoyin is playing its role. The wet summer arrives and the wetness energy, host energy, and the heat energy are combating on the left side of the upper body. People will contract the diseases of jaundice and edema often. So this is one of my favourite chapters, actually. I'm quite keen on studying this much more because it's something I can observe in the day-to-day activities. Fifth energy, host energy, yang ming, and the guest energy of wetness are becoming even more abundant. The weather is cloudy, cold energy invades men, and the storm will occur. No symptoms. And then the terminal stage, so the one that's affecting Earth, the final stage, the guest energy of the Prime Minister Xiao Yang. Yang energy is overabundant. The hibernants come out often. The flowing water's not frozen. Earth energy is developing. The various kinds of grasses are growing again, and people feel comfortable, but the seasonal febrile disease is apt to be contracted. Whoops. So that's sort of suggesting a warmish winter then.
Yeah.
I don't know where the blazing fire and stuff's going to come into it though. Observation. I mean, at least you got these slides now, and if you got the Neijing, you can go through that as well. But you know, I guess to look at the host-guest relationship within each, as we go into those months, you know, have it there by your side. Start to look at what the energetics of your clients are coming in, their pulses, symptoms, and how we can match that with the host and guest sequence. So when treating for this year, one must weaken the overcoming energy that causes the retained energy. So if metals, Yang Ming's restraining wood, then in that situation, we've got to look at how do we restrain metal? Or how do we weaken the Yang Ming influence? Bearing in mind that Yang Ming is passive that year. And, you know, do we want to weaken it? Is this the source of generation and transformation? Ability to adapt and change, I guess. Enhance the motion's energy and prevent the evil energy from being excessive. And then it's got apply acrid to adjust the wind, salty to adjust the fire, and the Xiaoyang fire should be pacified but must not be offended. Gently, gently. So again, they're practical things, but it's symbology as well.
So, can I ask a question? So I'm
Please.
thinking when people come in, like I'm just thinking of all the client files, like you could look at their date of birth and find out their root,
Yeah,
and then look at the year
yeah,
and maybe look at the years and compare what sort of disorders they had. And maybe this is where you can really start to predict and, I don't know, really care for people in a preventative way, but very personalized. I feel like we're quite personalized anyway, but I think this might really refine things.
yeah. Johan
Yeah.
definitely talks about that in the early chapters about comparing dates when a disease, or so does Luli Hong actually. He talks a lot about when does the disease appear. even if it's cancer, it might have been developing for 20, 30, 40 years.
Certain year.
But it's the
Yeah.
year, but it's the timing that it comes out is the one to reference to the birth chart.
Great. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you. Good.
it's a fascinating subject. Not sure about prevention. I think that is totally possible, I think, but I don't have sufficient skills to date to be confident in that area. Except for, knowing that if this continues, it's going to damage that element or that organ.
Yeah, and sort of guesstimate
Yeah.
what might occur. Yeah, if they've already got tendencies or something.
Mm.
And noticing in
Yeah, that's
yourself, this is like that's what I'm really keen on this day-to-day observation stuff. How do I feel on the 2 days that's governed by wood? Do I wake up in the same way that I
okay.
wake up in the days that are governed by fire? Um, uh,
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. And then I suppose a bit like cycle care for women, you might plan things on certain parts of that cycle where you might feel more well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got an advantage in that way. You-
Well, I don't know if
Well, you
everyone.
might think that.
Oh, you
Well,
think that?
probably because you're a woman. Yeah, and I'm a
Oh,
bigoted, opinionated male. Uh, but just because of that, the wonderful cycles of menstruation, and how it's already built into that cyclical change through the four stages through the moon cycle. So you've got, I guess, greater access to that direct information.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like that definite idea of looking at those days, like you said, and
Yeah,
then looking at them over the cycle, and then with your own personal uh, sort of date of birth.
yeah,
Yeah, it's getting deep levels, isn't it, to have a look at stuff.
yeah. It is.
Yeah, good.
It is indeed. Um, what
Do
was
some
what?
practitioners work like that? They're stems and branches practitioners,
There
even.
are, there are, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I know. I only know of Johan, and I think there's loads and loads of people that have got in touch with his book, and it was a group in Myanmar that encouraged him to start his doing the monthly or bi-monthly meetings and going through his book.
Right.
So I think there's a real growing tendency, amongst practitioners to want to know more about the subject. Mm.
Yeah,
When I
good.
tell people that I'm doing this, they're fascinated.
How
Yeah,
do
Not
you
everybody, but
describe
a
it,
lot of people,
Irene?
yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh my God, how does that? Oh, that sound, yes." And you can see them trying to take it on board and try and understand it. Yeah, but they get the concept.
Yes,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right, thanks. That's really good for the chat, and I'll mute myself now so I can listen to you. Cool.
Um, well, I just want to have a quick look at how much more we've got to go through. Do you mind if I just run through these slides quick? Oh, we're not too far from the end. Are you all right if we just go to the end of part 3 then? You all right going a little bit longer?
Yes, great. I've got time. Thank you.
Yep, and then
Yeah,
without
Yeah,
I'm
that.
okay.
I can.
All right. Um, so we got to this bit. This was quite specific as well, which I thought was interesting. But they're saying don't apply medicine of warm nature in warm weather. Do not apply the medicine of hot nature in hot weather, and conversely, cold weather, cool weather. Uh, whether that's just for this year or not, I'm not sure. My understanding is that in the summer, the outside's hot, the inside's relatively cool, and in winter, outside's cool, inside's relatively hot. So you have your mung bean soups or your radishes in winter because it's cooling, and you have your Li Tong warming foods type thing in summer because the inside's naturally colder and you need to preserve it. So this was quite an interesting statement. Like I say, I'm not quite sure if it's just for this year, so I'll have to do a bit more study on that one. But it says when the substitutionary energy is dominating and the weather is abnormal, the disease should be treated some other way. So I guess that's abnormal weather for the year or the month or the season. These are the fundamental rules of treating and they must not be violated. Otherwise, disease will ensue. All right, so here's just some comments from Johan. It's quite quick, this bit, I think, just on the spleen. There's so much more that we could have gone through. But I want to just give you a taste of some of it anyway. So this is the branch. C contains all the qualities needed to follow the human path on earth. It's quite a good statement on its own. C spleen represents the order of heaven in humans, which shows in the government of all cyclical climactic movements in humans and otherwise. Si and Chen prepare the conditions for the yin half of the cycle of the earthly branches, which I thought was another beautiful statement. Yin qualities such as susceptibility, vulnerability, and receptivity replace motivation, movement, growth, and development. So this is what you were talking about before, Joe, is why the 6 yang lines in the spleen, 9 to 11, and not in the heart, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Seems to be the role of the branches Si and Chen as they take in all that nourishment through their earth qualities. How you can get susceptibility, vulnerability, receptivity as a replacement for the east side of the circle, the ascending, growing, expanding movement. And if you think that's when we move something contracts, something relaxes. There's this dynamic duality going on in everything, I guess. But that's the condition that this spleen branch seems to hold. He does. I'm not sure if I got it written down here, but he does say that if the spleen branch is not working, nothing's going to work. So during the time of Si and Chen, so stomach and spleen, human consciousness is influenced by the order of heaven. This reveals human order and stability, organized and built on receptivity, emptiness, openness, and sensitivity. The yin qualities of the spirit and the mind are extremely important for the consciousness to receive the chi of heaven via the great movements and heavenly stems, which arrange by their chi all movements on earth. The more stagnation in Si spleen, the more inaccessible the Shen and the more inflexible humans are in assumptions, expectations, feelings, thoughts, and ideas. Oh, that's what he says. Over the years, it has become clear to me that treating with heavenly stems and branches begins and depends on the quality of the patient's earthly branch Si spleen, which appears to have an awful lot to do with receptivity. Openness, receptivity, and vulnerability can provide insight into certain emotions and habits that actually hide the uniqueness and freedom of the self. So if we're looking at the Yi metal passive, the interaction of the qualities metal and wood. So expansion, going out, connecting outside, balance with introspective understanding and knowing. seems to be showing up in this YiSi year. Recognizing emotions and associated program patterns, excuse me, can clear the veil, bringing closer the recognition of reality and actuality, the authenticity and the truth of the circumstances. And above all, openness of character brings a person closer to the uniqueness of themselves and others as solitary, authentic beings. Being alone and authentic are not synonyms for loneliness and fear. On the contrary, they can bring love, connection, and compassion that turn loneliness associated with fear into togetherness.
That's lovely, that.
Yeah, it is lovely, isn't it? That's just reflecting question. I think, what is the human path? What qualities are contained in C? I must have pulled it. Yeah, I pulled that out of the earthly branches study stuff. Seasonal point, I'm not going into that now. Spleen 2 is the seasonal point. It's the seasonal point because it's the fire point on the spleen channel, and spleen branch is the birth branch of fire. Something different again. This is Jing Qi Nan. He's the originator of the fire spirit school, and anyway, he puts fever and cough, weak breath, sluggish speech. Body is heavy with desire to lie down, no desire for food and drink, or when the emperor's heart yang qi is weak. So if we're looking at overactive fire and a deficient metal, if these symptoms are present, we need to be quite cautious about how we pacify fire. And I guess you should probably have in there no thirst as well. And then blame is according to Wang Feng Yi, is the poison of earth. And it's got here that when blame lodges in the heart, it's precisely the core of all illness. It's a big statement.
Interesting one.
Yeah, and if we come back to the origin where we started off with the earth element as the beginning of the great movements, this again elaborates on that concept of the chi activating downwards into the lower GL, activating the Ren channel and moving upwards into Ren 22 and out into the meridian circulation through lung 1, all dependent on earth and metal. Do we need to go through this? Probably, maybe just have a look through the slides yourselves. This is just, we're moving into treatment part of the presentation, I think. This is just talking about the collective working of the number of 3. Here we've got spleen, heart, and small intestine, and the hexagrams initiating, encountering, and retreat, or Chen, Go, and Dun. It's just suggesting it's easiest to treat the exterior during these times, best to treat diseases of cold, best times to treat hindrances to the opening mechanism of the body. It's also, as we move into this, into the bladder as well, the bladder next branch here, the Shen branch, which we're just moving into now, Joe, in our hemisphere, is still Tai Yang. So we've got small intestine as Tai Yang and bladder as Tai Yang. So it's still appropriate treating that opening mechanism, whether it's the pores or the bladder. There's just some information on the hexagrams. I don't think go through that on the hexagrams. So we've got summary: dryness and scorching heat, passive yin, insufficient metal ascends when it's deficient. Impetuous behavior is a sign, as well as all of the chest type symptoms. Congestion in the upper body. Retaliating water can also push up, creating problems in the head and neck. And then we've got that where metal can't control wood and wood plays its role. We've got that heat evil, wind evil, and wind dryness, which was on slide 65. And that's the end of part 3.
So
Well,
when you say slide 65, is that the one on the study portal
nope.
in the essential charts?
Nope. That's the one in here. If I go to 65,
Oh, right. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
and I will send you the link out for that. 65.
That one there. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's not that one. I've obviously added slides since I wrote that. So where the hell is that then? Good question, Ari. Not question, but observation. There it is. Yeah, 87. So I've added 22 slides since.
Wow.
All right, let's do a correction on that. Mind you, it's all saved now. People are going to be, it's not on slide 65. Oh, I don't know. I'll do that another time. All right. So,
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul.
do you mind if I stop sharing?
No.
I could preview a little bit of what's to come, but I'm getting pretty tired.
Yeah.
So what we got? Part
No,
4.
that's okay. I need to go and walk the dog.
All right. We've got to do that. Well, let's just get rid of that.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, lovely to spend a bit of time with you guys. If you can,
Really good to meet you. Thank you.
if you can allow me to a few days, and I'll record parts 4 and 5 because they got practical stuff in it as well. I'll send you that out and go from there. Any feedback? Highly welcome. And I hope
So
that
are we
was.
going to be seeing, is it Lucia, Catherine and Karine, was it? Sorry, I can't see the names now.
Yeah,
Hi.
Catherine. Catherine.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
That was fun. Cheers, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, hello,
That's great.
Karine.
I know it's a lot
Hi,
of
Thanks very
Joe.
much, Paul.
lot of info, but
Yeah.
It is. You've got to just let it sit for a bit. And yeah, I'm glad that you're doing like a longer thing because I think that's how it'll embed, won't it? Just doing a bit and discussing and all that sort of stuff.
yeah. And then
Oh,
going home and studying, of course.
oh dear.
What?
Yes.
Oh, Lucia's not, her audio's not been working.
Oh,
Damn. Okay.
It's her first, oh bless, it's her first Zoom and not even audio.
oh.
Oh, and
Well,
not
she
even
can listen.
video. Oh, bless.
Well, at least you had hearing.
There's a recording. Yeah.
That's beneficial. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stop that recording actually. Nope.
All right,
Anyway,
guys.
all right.
Yeah,
Hello.
thanks,
Hope
Paul.
to see you
See
next
you
Night,
time then,
everybody.
Catherine. Yeah, bye now.
Nice to meet you all. Cheers.
Yeah, we'll see you
Yes,
again,
see
Nice to
Karine.
meet you all. Thank you so much.
That's a
Yes.
pleasure.
Brilliant.
Where are you from? Sorry, because I missed all this at the beginning.
Brazil.
I'm from Brazil.
Oh, okay. Wow. So is
Thanks,
that's
Paul.
Southern Hemisphere, isn't it?
Cheers, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you.
Well,
See you later.
yeah, hopefully see you next time
Yeah.
when
Yes.
we get a date. Okay. All right. Bye,
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
guys.
See ya.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.